Washington and Jerusalem sent strong messages. The U.S. military has entered Israel as Russian drones have increased strikes on Israeli military positions. This decision's strategic calculations? Is this the start of a new Cold War between the superpowers? Conflict escalation and UNIFIL. The U.S. involvement would be deadly because Iran would react and attack American bases in the Persian Gulf. Family dictatorships, family governments, and states that host those bases will be considered hostile, and their oil and gas assets and infrastructure targeted. It will be considered aggression. The Iraqi resistance vows to expel Americans. That would devastate the world economy, worse than 1929. Hezbollah's Russian drone strikes an Israeli base, killing almost 70 people. No one wants U.S. soldiers in Israel. UNIFIL also claims that Israeli soldiers intentionally injured 2 of its personnel. According to a UN spokeswoman, attacks against peacekeepers violate international law, including humanitarian law, and maybe war crimes. To clarify, UNIFIL has maintained peace in Lebanon on the Israeli border since 1978. Since Israel began the ground invasion of Lebanon, Israel has urged Irish troops to depart the complex. This request sparked conflict between the Irish president and Israel. As UNIFIL troops are wounded, the situation has worsened. Israel denies targeting UNIFIL forces and made a video statement describing the incident. Let's begin. Specifically, leave this region to avoid danger. Israelis are not battling UNIFIL, not fighting Lebanon's people. It fights Iran's proxy Hezbollah, which attacks Israel from Lebanon. Hezbollah began attacking Israel on October 8th, the day after Hamas's attacks, and has already launched approximately 5,000 rockets and missiles. Hezbollah strikes Israeli cities and neighborhoods from UNIFIL bases. These attacks have killed many Israelis, including yesterday. Israel will defend itself against Hezbollah as it should. We regret any harm to UNIFIL personnel, and the IDF is working to prevent it. The best method to protect UNIFIL personnel is to comply with Israel's orders and temporarily leave the area. Geopolitics and strategic links. The UNIFIL reported that IDF forces entered a southern Lebanon position and fired smoke rounds, which sickened peacekeepers. Israel confirmed the incident, explaining it was an attempt to evacuate wounded soldiers under fire. IDF examination revealed 2 tanks were trapped in an area unable to escape fire during the evacuation, and Israel maintained communication with UNIFIL throughout. An Israeli base was struck by a Russian drone, reportedly resulting in nearly 70 casualties. The Israeli air defense system, including the Iron Dome, failed to intercept the drone, making this the largest attack away from the front lines since October 7th. The attack coincided with the U.S. announcement to send air defense systems and 100 troops to manage them. 4 Israeli soldiers were killed in a Hezbollah drone attack on a military base near Haifa and Tel Aviv, injuring over 50 others, mostly in a canteen. 7 were critically injured as the drone evaded air defenses. Meanwhile, Israeli airstrikes hit parts of Lebanon, targeting Hezbollah tunnels with explosives, bullets, and uniforms. In southern Lebanon, the IDF reportedly breached a UN peacekeeping base, with 2 tanks destroying the gate and firing rounds nearby. Israel stated this was to evacuate injured soldiers. The IDF is investigating how the UAV breached the base without triggering an alert, recognizing the ongoing UAV threat. Ben Hodges discussed on the Chaos and Peace podcast how Iran provides Russia with drones, missiles, and weapons, enabling Russia to distract from the Ukraine conflict. Russia's reliance on Iran and North Korea for ammunition highlights its weakened economy and defense sector, yet it continues to supply oil and gas to China and India. The Middle East and the Russia-Ukraine war are interconnected as Iran relies on Russia, and vice versa. If Israel weakens Iran's defenses, Iran will struggle to support Russia and its proxies, including Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis, by providing ammunition and weapons. Success in both conflicts requires strategic planning, alliances, and economic power. A Ukrainian victory isolates Iran, reducing its support for its proxies. South Korea, with a strong military and 3,000 U.S. troops stationed there, deters North Korea. But China isn't an ally of North Korea due to the risk of an influx of refugees if North Korea collapses. Russia, however, maintains ties with North Korea, likely exchanging oil and gas for ammunition, though the quality is uncertain. Despite mixed reports, even poor quality ammunition is significant, and disrupting this supply is crucial. North Korea may also provide technical and engineering support, such as combat engineers, although the quality of this aid is unclear. The U.S. and South Korea should remind North Korea of their significant military presence in the region. Hezbollah recently claimed responsibility for an attack on Israel, stating they used a diversion tactic by launching missiles and rockets at northern Israel to distract air defenses, then sending drones from the south. This indicates Hezbollah is seeking ways to bypass Israel's air defenses. U.S. support for Israel and Iran's reaction. The day before the Israeli base attack, the U.S. announced that it would give Israel a Terminal High Altitude Area Defense Battery, or TAID, air defense system, and 100 U.S. troops to manage it. The fact that the U.S. is strengthening Israeli air defense may indicate that Israel has decided on the type of attack it plans to carry out against Iran in retaliation for the October 1st ballistic missile attack. The U.S. likely believes that there will be a retaliation, and it will be stronger than on October 1st. A second major move was Iran officially saying that it will no longer have indirect communication with the U.S., which I assume means back-channel diplomacy. Iran says that. The U.S. is communicating to the area, especially to the Iranians, that it stands with Israel in the face of Iranian aggression, and to Israel that it has their back. This system attacks ballistic missiles, which Israel's existing systems can't do, so it adds another layer of defense and suggests that Israel will launch a significant attack against Iran that will prompt the Iranians to respond. So, all of this is anticipatory. You can start to tease it out and think about how it might play out, but it's very strong. I'm curious that you think it's a preparation for Iran to return when Israel retaliates for that original ballistic missile attack. It doesn't suggest that although the recent Iranian ballistic missile strike almost 2 weeks ago did little damage, Israel and America were worried that some got through, could have done damage, and there is potential for much more damage in a further strike. Just under 200 ballistic missiles got through, but they have thousands of missiles and drones they could send, overwhelming Israel's defenses. I think the U.S. is as much a deterrent as a defense, and we'll see how the Iranians respond if the Israelis strike. Netanyahu's Lebanon speech and regional effects. The Israeli ground offensive near Camp UN 652, the Irish base, is worrying Irish forces in Lebanon. Prime Minister Netanyahu has issued another statement calling for Lebanese to rise against Hezbollah. In today's video, we'll discuss Netanyahu's message to the Lebanese people and what happened to Lebanon. A group of leaders and individuals engaged in harmful actions has had a significant impact on the situation. Lebanon was once tolerant and beautiful, but now it's a place of chaos and war. Israel left 25 years ago, but Iran conquered Lebanon by funding and arming Hezbollah. Hezbollah joined the battle against Israel one day after the October 7th incident a year ago and attacked our cities and residents without provocation. We've decided to do whatever is necessary to return our people safely to their homes. Israel has a right to defend itself. Israel has a right to win. And Israel will win. We have reduced Hezbollah's operational capabilities and removed many key figures, leaving the organization weaker than it has been in years. Now, you, the Lebanese, can take back your country. You can return Lebanon to peace and prosperity. If you don't, Hezbollah will continue to fight Israel from densely populated areas at your expense, dragging Lebanon into a wider war. Christians, Druze, Muslims, Sunnis, and Shiites are all suffering because of Hezbollah's futile war against Israel. I know you want a better future for your children, so I'm speaking to all of you today. There is a better way for your children, for your cities, for your villages, for your country. You deserve to restore Lebanon to its days of tranquility. One country, one flag, one people. We have reduced Hezbollah's capabilities. You have a chance to protect your children and grandchildren from a prolonged conflict that could lead to significant challenges and hardship, like what is currently happening in Gaza. Each of you can take a small step toward your future. Empower your nation to overcome Hezbollah and develop again so future generations of Lebanese and Israeli children can grow up in peace and coexistence. UNIFIL, the United Nations interim force in Lebanon, recently criticized the IDF's proximity to an outpost where Irish troops are stationed. Ireland has led 1,000 UN peacekeepers in Lebanon since 1978, and 350 Irish personnel are currently in the country. Israel requested that UN troops be evacuated from the region, which Irish Prime Minister Michael D. Higgins called outrageous and an insult to the UN, the world's most important organization. IDF says they are in constant communication with UNIFIL to make sure no peacekeepers are hurt. Israel's Iran response and military operations, part of its ongoing ground offensive. Israel has stated that 4 divisions are deployed in Lebanon, but hasn't disclosed the exact number of soldiers in each division. As Israel contemplates its response to Iran's recent ballistic missile attack, Iran issued a stern warning, threatening retaliation against Gulf states if Israel or the U.S. uses their airspace to attack Tehran. President Biden is expected to have a crucial phone call with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu on Wednesday morning, marking the first call between the leaders in months. 2 Israeli officials anticipate a strong Israeli response, possibly airstrikes. Israel has also considered targeting Iran's oil infrastructure, which Biden has opposed. Many experts believe the Middle East conflict is nearing its climax, and Israel's response is critical in potentially halting Iran's nuclear ambitions. This shadow conflict has been intensifying for over 25 years, and it is now reaching a pivotal moment as Iran's regime faces instability. Despite its large oil reserves, Iran's government has focused on maintaining power and supporting proxies. The recent missile attack by Iran, the largest of its kind, failed to cause significant damage but underscored tensions. It is anticipated that Israel will retaliate, with the U.S. likely supporting these strikes. Governor Jeb Bush and I have called for Israel, with U.S. assistance, to target Iranian military sites, including IRGC, missile, and nuclear facilities. Thank you for watching our videos. We will always attempt to deliver the fastest and most interesting information. Leave your opinions in the comments and support our channel by liking, sharing, and subscribing. See you soon.